The cry in the forest. Jack moved slowly through the tall grass. The trees around him were strange, twisted shapes and glowing leaves. His ship had crashed on this alien planet 2 days ago. He had no signal, no help, and no food left. Only his old backpack and a half-broken scanner kept him going. Suddenly he stopped. A sound. Not a growl. Not wind. Not machine. It was a cry. A small, soft cry. He turned, listening again. Yes, it was close now. Someone was crying in the forest. Is someone there? Jack asked, stepping forward. No answer came, just the same broken sobs. He followed the sound, moving past glowing vines and silent stones. After a few minutes, he saw her, a little alien girl. She sat on the ground, shaking, her knees to her chest. She had blue skin, large dark eyes, and hair like soft feathers. She looked no older than 10. Jack raised his hand slowly. Hey, it's okay. I won't hurt you. The girl looked up, her eyes wide with fear and sadness. Human? She whispered. Yeah, that's me, Jack said softly, kneeling down. What's wrong? She stood slowly, tears on her face. My mother. She is hurt. She is caught. Bad trap, you help? Jack didn't hesitate. Take me to her. The girl grabbed his hand and pulled him deeper into the forest. The path was rough, twisted roots and sharp rocks. But she didn't stop. Jack followed, heart beating faster. After 10 minutes, they reached a clearing. The sun above was blocked by thick branches. In the center was a deep hole, a metal trap. Inside it was the girl's mother. She was tall, with the same blue skin, but her body was bleeding. Her leg was caught in sharp steel. She was barely conscious. Mother. The girl cried, crawling near the edge. Jack moved quickly. He looked at the trap. It was old tech, but not alien. It was human. His heart dropped. This is from Earth. The girl looked at him. You help her? Yes? Jack nodded. I'll try. He opened his bag and pulled out a rope. Slowly, carefully, he tied it around a tree and lowered it down. He climbed down and reached the mother. Her breathing was weak. He checked the trap. It was tight. Very tight. Jack spoke gently. I'm going to free you. It will hurt. The mother opened her eyes slightly. Who are you? Someone trying to help, he replied. With one strong move, he pulled the metal apart. The trap snapped open. The mother cried out but didn't move. Jack wrapped her wound with cloth and slowly lifted her over his shoulder. He climbed out with her, step by step, breathing heavy. Once he was out, the girl ran to her mother and hugged her, tightly. Tears fell again, but this time they were mixed with relief. Thank you, the girl whispered. Jack sat down, exhausted. What's your name? My name is Sari, the girl said. My mother is Velya. Jack nodded. I'm Jack. Velya opened her eyes again. You're human? Yes, Jack said. Her face showed pain and fear. They set the trap for me, humans. They want me dead. Jack froze. Why? Velya coughed. Because I helped humans once, in the war. Jack looked at the trap again. It was clear now. Someone had wanted her dead, and they had used human tech to do it. We can't stay here, he said. Sari looked up. Will they come? Jack nodded. They always come back to check the trap. He stood, lifting Velya again. We need to find shelter. Now. As they walked away from the pit, the forest grew silent. But high above, in the trees, something watched them, and it was not human. The trap of thorns, the forest felt different now. Quieter. As Jack walked with the alien girl and her injured mother, he felt the weight of more than just her body on his shoulders. He felt the weight of danger. The trap hadn't been random. Someone had set it with a purpose, and that meant someone was watching. We're being followed, Jack said in a low voice. Sorry, the alien girl looked up. Can you hear them? Not yet, but I can feel it. The leaves rustled as the wind passed through glowing blue vines. The trees above twisted like claws reaching down from the sky. This part of the forest was thicker, darker, harder to breathe. Jack stopped near a large root formation and laid Velya, the mother, down gently. She was still unconscious, her breathing shallow. "We need to hide for a while," he said. "Is she going to die?" Sari asked. Jack looked at her, seeing fear in her big eyes. "Not if I can help it," he replied. He opened his pack and started working on her wound again. This time he used a stronger bandage and a pain patch he had saved for emergencies. He was no doctor, but the basics were clear. Stop the bleeding, keep her warm, and keep her safe. As he worked, he noticed something else. Small cuts on her arms, strange markings, not natural. "These marks," he said, "they look like symbols." Sari leaned over. "She said the hunters marked her, said she was a traitor to her kind." Jack's stomach tightened. "Why?" "Because she helped a human once," Sari said. "Long ago, when the war started, she saved a pilot." Jack looked down at Velya, now sleeping. "And someone wants her dead for it." Suddenly a loud snap echoed from the trees. Jack stood up fast, pulling his weapon. "Stay behind me," he whispered. The forest grew still. Too still. Then came the sound, metal scraping against wood. Jack moved slowly toward the sound. His boots crushed leaves and cracked twigs. Then he saw it. Another trap. But this one was new. A net made from razor-sharp thorns hanging just inches above the ground, waiting for someone to step on the trigger. A trap designed not to kill, but to torture. He carefully disarmed it. Then looked around. Someone had set this recently. Someone close. He turned back. "We have to move," he said. "They're setting traps for us." "But where will we go?" Sari asked. Jack pointed. "There's a cliffside about 2 clicks east. Caves. Natural cover." He lifted Velya again and started walking. Sari followed closely. As they moved, Jack's mind raced. Who were these hunters? Why did they care so much about Velya? And why were they using human traps? Just as they reached a narrow path between stone walls, Jack stopped again. Blood. Not Velya's. Fresh. Blood on the rocks. He knelt down, touching it. It was still warm, and beside it, claw marks. Large ones. "What is it?" Sari whispered. "Something big came this way," he said. "And it's bleeding." The path opened into a clearing, but the moment they stepped in, the sky above exploded with noise. A drone, ancient, rusted, alien in shape, but patched with human metal. It hovered, scanning the area. Red lights blinked. It beeped. Then it spotted them. "Run!" Jack shouted. The drone fired. Blue plasma hit the ground behind them, setting grass on fire. Sari screamed and ducked. Jack shielded Velya and sprinted into the trees. The drone followed, fast and silent. Jack found a fallen tree and rolled beneath it, pulling Sari and Velya with him. The drone passed overhead, then circled. Jack aimed his weapon and fired. The shot hit one of its rotors. It sparked, spun wildly, then crashed into the forest floor. The explosion shook the ground. Sari clutched her mother. "Was that them?" Jack nodded. "Someone sent that drone. They're not far." He got up, looking at the smoke rising from the wreck. "They know we're here now," he said, "and they're not going to stop." From deep within the smoke, a shape moved, tall, cloaked, watching. Jack saw it for only a second before it vanished again, but that second was enough. This wasn't just a hunt. This was war, and they were the prey. The rescue mission. The forest was burning. Smoke filled the air as Jack led Sari and her mother through a narrow ravine. The drone's explosion had caught a dry patch of brush, and now flames chased them like hungry animals. Jack's breath was short. Every step was harder. He was carrying Velya over his shoulder again, and her condition was getting worse. Her skin had gone pale and her breathing was slow. "Don't give up," Jack whispered. "Just hold on a little longer." Behind them, Sari ran barefoot, holding Jack's jacket over her head to block the falling ash. She coughed and stumbled, but never stopped. She was small, but strong. After a long, painful hike, they reached the cliffside. It rose high like a black wall against the orange sky. Jagged cracks and stone ledges marked its surface. Jack remembered this place from a topographic scan before his crash. He had seen signs of a cave here. "Stay close," he told Sari. "We're almost safe." They moved along the base of the cliff until Jack found a dark gap between the rocks. A cave. He entered first, checking for danger. The air inside was cooler. Safe. It stretched deeper, bending to the left and vanishing into darkness. He brought Velya in and laid her on a dry patch of ground. Sari followed, collapsing beside her mother. Jack lit a small flare from his belt. Red light filled the cave, casting shadows on the walls. "We'll stay here for now," he said, "but we need help, soon." He checked his scanner. Still no signal, no messages, no way to call for backup. But then, a strange beep. Jack stared at the screen. Life form detected. 64 meters, his eyes narrowed. "We're not alone in this. Cave." He grabbed his weapon and stood. "Stay here with your mother," he told Sari. "Don't move unless I come back." Sari nodded, eyes wide with fear. Jack followed the tunnel deeper, each step echoing. Then, movement, a flicker of light up ahead. He crept forward and found a small chamber. Inside, a fire burned in a handmade pit. Around it, alien tools and bones. And a figure, not a hunter, not a soldier, an old alien woman, skin wrinkled, eyes glowing silver. She looked up as if she had been expecting him. "You bring the Mother of Peace," she said calmly. Jack kept his weapon up. "Who are you?" "They call me the Cave Witch." She smiled. "I was once like her, hunted for kindness." "Can you help her?" Jack asked quickly. "She's bleeding. She needs medicine." The old woman stood and walked past him. "Show me." They returned to the entrance. Sari watched closely as the woman knelt beside Velya. She placed her hands over the wound and began to chant in a soft language Jack didn't know. A soft glow covered her hands. The air shifted. Jack felt heat on his skin. Then, Velya gasped. Her eyes opened wide. Her breathing returned. "Mother!" Sari cried, hugging her tightly. The old woman stood. "She will live, but danger follows close. You brought them here." Jack stepped forward. "Who are they?" "Those who call themselves the Pure. They are neither human nor alien. They are both, and they hate both sides." Jack's blood ran cold. Hybrids, rejects of war. Born from secret labs, forgotten by both human and alien leaders. Now they hunted those who stood for peace. "They are coming," the old woman said. "3 of them, armed and cruel. They will kill you all." Jack checked his rifle. "Then, we fight. You alone cannot win," she warned. Jack looked down at Sari, who clung to her mother's hand. "I have to," he said. For her, he placed traps at the cave entrance, used fallen rocks to block weak points, and readied his last 3 grenades. Then the first attacker arrived. Silent as a shadow. He was fast. Too fast. Jack barely fired before the figure vanished behind a boulder. Another came from the side, taller, stronger, wearing a metal mask. Jack tossed a flash grenade. The cave lit up. The masked figure screamed and stumbled. Jack charged, tackled him, and slammed his weapon into the mask, again and again, until the metal cracked. Behind him, the 3rd attacker entered. This one with a blade, moving toward me. Sari and Velya. Jack turned, aimed, and fired, but he missed. The blade was raised. Sari screamed. Then, snap. A long, sharp branch shot through the cave from the old woman's hand. The blade attacker froze, impaled. He fell. Jack looked back, breathing hard. The old woman lowered her hand. "Go," she said. "You can't stay." "What about you?" Jack asked. I am already forgotten. But the girl will be remembered. Jack helped Velia up. She could walk now, but barely. Together they left the cave. But the message was clear now. This wasn't just survival. This was a mission. Hunted by shadows, the night was quiet, but not peaceful. After escaping the cave, Jack led Sari and her mother, Velia, along the forest's edge. The old woman's warning echoed in his head. They will hunt you. They won't stop. Jack didn't sleep. He didn't even sit. He kept walking, eyes scanning every shadow. Velia walked slowly, leaning on Jack's shoulder. Sari followed, behind, carrying a long stick to clear their path. She didn't talk much now. Her eyes stayed wide and alert, like she was always listening for footsteps. They had only gone 2 kilometers when Jack saw the sign. A tree, burned from the inside. The bark was black and curling, and in the center, carved by a blade, was a symbol, a broken circle with 3 lines. The mark of the shadows, Velia said weakly. Jack looked at her. You've seen this before? She nodded. They mark their territory. Once you cross, they hunt without end. Sari clutched her mother's arm. Then we go back? Jack shook his head. No, we go through. But why? Sari asked. Because, on the other side, Jack said, there's a comms tower. If it's still working, we can call for help. Velia whispered. That tower was shut down years ago. I know, Jack said, but I'll make it work. They moved on. The trees grew darker. The air was cold. Vines moved like snakes in the wind. The ground felt soft, almost like it was breathing. Jack didn't like it. After a few more steps, the world changed. Whispers, at first soft, like wind, then louder. Jack stopped. Do you hear that? Sari nodded. They're close. Suddenly a scream, sharp, human, then nothing. Jack crouched low and pulled out a scanner. It beeped once, then shut down. Fried. They're jamming signals, he said. They know we're here. They reached a broken wall, half covered by moss. Behind it, ruins of a small alien village. Abandoned. Homes torn apart. Weapons scattered. Old blood on the stones. We rest here, Jack said. He set Velia down and checked her wound. It was better, but still not healed. Sari gathered sticks, while Jack built a small fire just enough for warmth. That's when he noticed something strange. The fire, it had no smoke. What the hell? Then it moved. The flame flickered sideways. Jack stood fast. A shadow rose from the fire, not behind it, from it. A black figure, tall and thin, no face, just glowing red eyes. Jack grabbed his weapon. Run, he shouted, but more shadows rose, from the ground, from the trees, from the air. They weren't creatures. They were something worse, made of energy, built from hate. Jack fired. The bullets passed through. Sari screamed. Velia fell backward, clutching her chest. Jack threw a stun grenade. It sparked bright blue and the shadows screamed, twisting and melting back into the dark. They can't stand human tech, Jack said, breathing fast. Only for a short time, Velia gasped. They'll come again. Stronger. Jack nodded. Then we run again. They left the ruins and climbed a rocky hill. From the top, Jack could finally see it, far in the distance through thick fog, a broken tower leaning sideways. That's our goal, he said. But between them and the tower was a sea of movement. Figures. Waiting. Jack knew what they were. Shadows. Velia reached into her pouch and pulled out a crystal. Glowing faint blue. Take this, she said. Jack frowned. What is it? Part of the old code. It was used to power ancient human-alien machines. The tower might still respond to it. Jack took the crystal and put it in his pocket. How long do we have? Sari asked. Velia looked to the sky. Until they learn to block your weapons, then no time at all. Jack turned to Sari. Do you trust me? She nodded slowly. Then stay close. We're not just running anymore. We're fighting back. As they made their way down the hill, the shadows watched, but for the first time, so did something else. In the stars above, a distant light blinked on. A human satellite, listening, waiting, ready. Jack just had to reach the tower and survive long enough to send the signal. The secret she hid: the path to the tower was not just hard, it was cursed. Jack moved carefully over the twisted rocks, every step a battle. Behind him, Sari held her mother's arm, helping her stay on her feet. The forest had changed again. The air was thick, too quiet. Not even the wind dared to speak. We're close now, Jack said, checking his map. 2 kilometers left. Velya didn't answer. She hadn't spoken since the last shadow attack. Her face was pale. Not just from blood loss. Something was wrong inside her. Jack could see it. But what scared him more was the look in her eyes. Fear. Not of death. Not of pain, but of a truth she hadn't shared. Finally, Sari asked, "What are you hiding, Mother?" Velya looked at her daughter, then at Jack. She stopped walking. "There's something you must know," she said softly. "Before we go further." Jack frowned. "What is it?" Velya took a deep breath. "This is not just about the trap, or the shadows, or me helping a human during the war." "Then what?" Jack asked. Velya's hands shook as she pulled a small device from a pouch around her neck. It was a data crystal, clear, glowing with a soft green pulse. "What is that?" Sari asked. "The last hope," Velya whispered. "And the biggest danger." Jack stepped closer. "Tell me." Velya closed her eyes. "Before the war ended, I worked in a lab, not as a fighter, as a scientist. We were building something with humans, something powerful, a way to stop all war forever." "A weapon?" Jack asked. "No," she said. "A cure." Jack blinked. "A cure for what?" "For hate," she said. "For war. For anger itself." Sari stared in disbelief. "It was called the Pulse of Peace," Velya said. "A wave that could calm minds, end violent thoughts, and unite species. Not forever, but long enough to stop fighting and make them listen." "Why haven't I heard of this?" Jack asked. "Because the project was shut down. The leaders feared it. They called it unnatural. They destroyed everything, except one piece. I saved it. This crystal holds the last code." Jack looked at the glowing shard. "And now the shadows want it?" Velya nodded. "They're not just hybrids. They were created to destroy peace. They live to feed war. They hate what this crystal can do." Jack looked at Sari. Her eyes were wide, full of questions, but they didn't have time for more. A sound cut through the silence. Not a whisper. A scream. From behind. Jack turned. Figures moved through the trees. Dozens. Maybe more. "They've found us," Velya said. Jack grabbed her and, "Sari. Run!" They raced toward the tower. The ground shook beneath them. The shadows were faster now, smarter. They moved like a wave of darkness, burning everything in their path. The tower came into view, tall, tilted, half broken, but standing. Jack ran to the base, kicking through old rubble. The door was sealed. A console blinked red. "It needs power," he said. Velya stepped forward, weak but steady. She took the green crystal and placed it into the port. The console turned blue. The door opened. They rushed inside. Dust fell from above. The lights flickered. Jack found the main panel. Old human tech. Damaged, but not dead. He worked fast, fingers moving across cracked buttons. "Come on, come on." Outside, the screams grew louder. A shadow slammed against the door, but the shield held. "They'll break through soon," Sari cried. Jack plugged in his comms device. "Just a little longer." Then the screen blinked. Signal found. "Connecting," a voice crackled through. "This is Outpost 0. Identify." Jack grabbed the mic. "This is Corporal Jack Haven, survivor of crash site Delta 9. Requesting emergency extraction. Coordinates transmitting now. Received. Evac inbound in 20 minutes. Jack almost collapsed. But then, silence. He turned. Velia stood in front of the control panel, holding the crystal again. "Jack," she said, "I have to use it." "Use what?" "The pulse," she said. "If I activate it now, the shadows will stop. They'll freeze. But it could kill me." "No," Sari said, tears in her eyes. "You can't." Velia looked at her daughter. "You are the future. I'm just the past." "There has to be another way," Jack said. But it was too late. Velia stepped into the center of the room, placed the crystal into the core port, and pressed her hand to the panel. The tower shook. Light burst from the walls. Outside, the shadows screamed in pain. Then, silence. The darkness faded, and so did Velia. She collapsed, the light leaving her body. Jack ran to her side. Sari held her hand. "Mother, please," Velia smiled faintly. "Live free," and then she was gone. The evac ship arrived minutes later. But Jack and Sari didn't speak. They looked at the sky, at the stars that watched everything, and they knew. Velia's secret hadn't just saved them. It had shaken the galaxy. Battle. In the glade, the evac ship was late. Jack stood outside the old tower with his weapon in hand. Sari sat beside her mother's body, silent. The pulse had ended the attack for now. But the air still felt heavy, like the forest itself held its breath. The crystal was gone. Burned out. Nothing left but dust, and Velia. She lay still, her hand still outstretched toward the sky. Jack's eyes scanned the treetops. "They'll come again," he said. "They won't stop this time." Sari didn't answer. She stared forward, her small hands clenched into fists. Jack knelt beside her. "Your mother gave everything. You don't have to fight." Sari looked at him. Her eyes had changed. They were no longer full of fear. They were full of fire. "They took my home," she whispered. "They tried to kill my mother. Now they want me to hide." She stood, grabbed a metal rod from the wreckage, and faced the trees. "I won't run anymore." Jack stood beside her, silent for a moment. Then he gave a small nod. "Then we fight together." The forest began to move. No wind, just shadows. Hundreds. Jack took position behind a broken wall. "Get down," he told Sari. But she didn't move. Instead, she stepped forward and spoke. Her voice was steady, strong. "I am Sari, daughter of Velia, the Peaceborn." The shadows paused. Some of them trembled. Jack stared in disbelief. Then he understood. She was more than a child. She was a symbol, living message in the shadows. Some of them remembered. They weren't all evil. Some had once been people. Minds forced into hate. Sari raised the broken rod. "You don't have to follow them," she said. "You can choose peace, like my mother did." A few shadows backed away, but others screamed and charged. Jack fired. The battle began. The clearing turned to chaos. Jack fought with everything he had: bullets, grenades, raw force. But there were too many. A shadow knocked him down and he hit the ground hard. "Jack!" Sari cried. But before she could reach him, a large shadow leapt in front of her. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She raised the rod and stabbed. The shadow burst into light, then vanished. Jack looked up, blood on his face. Sari stood above him, breathing heavy, her arms shaking. "I'm not afraid anymore," she said. He smiled through the pain. "Good. Because we're not done." They fought side by side, human and alien, back to back. And slowly, the shadows began to fall. But just when it seemed they might win, the sky turned black, not with clouds, with ships, 3 massive warcraft, belonging to the Pureborn, the leaders of the shadow forces. They hovered above the glade, engines growling like monsters. Jack looked up. We can't fight those. Maybe we don't have to, Sari said. Then the impossible happened. The air shimmered, and from above, a human military cruiser appeared, roaring into the sky with blazing engines. Reinforcements. They had heard the signal. They had come. Human troops dropped into the glade. Rifles ready. Drones flew overhead, scanning the area. A voice came over Jack's comms. This is Commander Rain. We received your call. Stand down. We've got you. The pureborn ships hesitated. Then one fired. A missile launched toward the glade. Jack ran toward Sari, ready to shield her. But another explosion lit the sky. A second missile, fired from the human cruiser, intercepted it midair. The blast shook the forest. And then, silence. The pureborn ships turned and fled. They disappeared into the stars. The battle was over. But the story was just beginning. Sari dropped the rod and fell to her knees. Jack caught her. You did it, he said. You stood your ground. No, she whispered. We did. Troops surrounded them, checking the area. Medics arrived. Jack finally let himself fall back, exhausted. Above him, the stars blinked quietly, and somewhere, across the galaxy, leaders, both human and alien, began to ask, who is this child? What happened in the forest and what comes next? What he did shocked the galaxy. The battle was over. The smoke cleared. The forest was silent. No more shadows. No more war cries. Jack stood with bruises on his body and pain in every breath, but he was alive. Sari sat beside her mother's resting place, a small marker made from stone and vines. Her head was bowed. She had not cried since the tower, not once. Jack approached her slowly. We're leaving in 1 hour, he said. The ship is ready. She didn't look at him. She should have seen this. Peace. Or at least the beginning of it. Jack knelt beside her. She didn't just see it. She made it happen. I just feel empty, Sari whispered. That's how peace begins, Jack said. It's not a loud victory. It's quiet. Like this. Just then, his comms device blinked. Corporal Jack Haven, you are requested for immediate live transmission with High Command. Priority Alpha. He frowned. They want me to speak? No, the officer replied. They want the girl. Jack looked at Sari. She stared back, surprised. Me? Jack gave a small smile. They finally know who you are. Minutes later, aboard the cruiser, Sari stood before a screen. On the other end, human generals, alien diplomats, and dozens of journalists from across the galaxy. A man spoke first. You are Sari, daughter of Velia, survivor of the Glade. Yes, Sari answered quietly. You fought the shadows. You faced the pureborn. And you activated the pulse of peace. Is this true? Sari hesitated. I helped. But my mother did the most. What do you want now? An alien counselor asked. The room went quiet. Sari looked straight at the camera. I want no more children to cry like I did. The silence deepened. I want no more traps, no more dark forests. No, more mothers who have to choose between hiding and dying. You think peace is possible? Someone asked. I know it is, she said, because one human stopped, listened, and helped. She turned to Jack, who stood nearby. He didn't ask what I was. He didn't care where I came from. He just helped. Cameras snapped. Broadcasts exploded. Messages flooded every channel. The child who stopped the war. Peaceborn speaks. Hope for a new future? Human soldier and alien child saved thousands. Jack stepped back as the world lit up, but one voice cut through the noise. Commander Rain stepped forward. Jack Haven, by order of Central Command, you are awarded the Star of Unity, the highest medal for galactic service. Jack blinked. I didn't do this for medals. We know, Rain said. That's why it matters. Weeks passed, then months. The war that had seemed endless slowed. Battles stopped. Meetings began. A new treaty formed called the Velia Accords, built on the peace she died for. Schools were open for hybrid children. The shadows, now without leaders, slowly disappeared. And sorry, she became a symbol, not a weapon, not a soldier. Voice leaders listened to her, not because she was powerful, but because she was honest. Jack stayed by her side as her guardian and protector, but one day he told her, "You don't need me anymore." "Yes, I do," she said. "No," he smiled. "You're the one they need now." On a small, peaceful moon, Sari stood beneath a tree planted in her mother's name. Children played nearby, human, alien, hybrid, all laughing. Jack watched from a bench. A reporter sat beside him. "You know," she said, "people say what you did shock the galaxy." Jack smiled. "I didn't shock the galaxy," he said. "I just listened to a little girl, and that changed everything."